Hi guys, this is Kyle with K-Debate. I wanted to make a video. I haven't made a video in a very long time. I moved, lots of stuff happened. That's not the issue. I wanted to say something very important that I found in arguments and talking to people with different ideas and beliefs than you. I recently, and actually over the course of a very long time, but only recently had this happen to me, I made an inaccurate argument. A few days ago, I posted a comment to someone on Facebook who was making inflammatory comments about it was about a political party and a specific person within a political party, and I said something without checking to make sure I was correct first, and I was wrong. And they responded in a very inflammatory way, but the first thing they said was I was wrong, and I needed to go and check my facts. I actually had to go do that, and I was wrong. But the way they responded was an extremely insulting way. Like, you are the most naive person ever. You don't know anything. They pretty much dismissed everything I said because one part of my argument, and it wasn't the main part of my argument. It was just one thing I said was inaccurate, and they didn't answer any of the questions I had. They didn't say anything, but I was wrong, and what I did was I responded to them and I said, yes, I admit it. I should have checked what I said before I said it. I normally do. This time I honestly thought I was correct because of something I had read and misunderstood what I read. So I said I'm wrong. I apologize for that. I should have checked. But that doesn't mean you are correct. That does not mean that the things that you have said opposite mine, they weren't related to that. That was just one tiny part of it. They pretty much said everything you've said is wrong because what you said at the beginning was wrong. And I responded to it, and it's very difficult to do. And I understand that when you are wrong, and when somebody points out all of these facts as to why you are wrong, even if it's completely 100% inarguable fact, it is still very painful to say I was wrong. Now, for me, it's a little bit easier because I do pride myself on factual argument and not using emotion or bias when I try to make an argument. For a lot of people, that doesn't matter. For a lot of people, it is all about the emotion. It's all about what they believe, not what about other people have studied for their life. Because they say, I am right, you are wrong. Nothing will ever change that. And that's the problem. I do have my beliefs. I have my belief system. It is very in depth. My belief system has a lot of layers, and I could talk about it non-stop probably for about a week and still not be done. There's a lot of stuff I believe in, and there's reasons behind everything I believe in. A lot of people don't have that level of belief. They have their beliefs because it's the way they were raised, or because of this one little thing, like this very tiny thing, and they just expand on it like nothing else matters. If it doesn't correlate with this, it doesn't matter. And I think that's one of the biggest problems with talking to people about different ideologies and different belief systems, is that you have yours, however big it is, however expanded you've made this from different sources, and they have theirs. And those core beliefs, those core ideas or values that they hold cannot be questioned, or you are wrong. And I found it to be, when I made my inaccurate argument, I felt like I had failed in what I was trying to do, which was inform them about something that I believed was true. And it was a tidbit of information I wasn't aware of, and I had just kind of said it in part of my argument. I'm like, I shouldn't have said that. I should have either just left it out entirely because it wasn't important, or because it wasn't important. And I should have left it out, and I blame myself for that. And I tried to admit to them just as clearly as I could that I am sorry, I didn't mean to misinform. But his response was so acidic in his insults and his kind of, it's a sense of superiority, as I got you, you have lost. And that's not how they're supposed to be done. That's not how you talk to somebody that you're trying to teach. I was wrong, and he had the information. He didn't give me the information. He just said I'm wrong. He didn't give me a link. He didn't give me an explanation. He just said you are wrong, and I had to go and look it up. And that's not the way you're supposed to do it. That's not the way arguments are meant to be had, because I know that this is the internet. I know this is Facebook, because that's where it happened. And political pundits on Facebook are some of the worst people ever for making arguments, because it's all partisan. It's all opinion, bias, vomiting ideas, just punching the other person in the face while patting yourself on the back without any consideration to the other side at all. That's most of what it is, and that's what most pundits are. Is they believe that they are right, and any amount of lying, mudslinging, misinformation, misrepresentation, bad arguments, all of that stuff is completely fine as long as you win in the end. I disagree with that. I try to give people the information accurately. I failed, and it's still painful, even with that mindset of truth being the most important thing. It's still painful to say I'm wrong, because it's admitting that you failed. It's admitting that there is something flawed in what you have said. And when that happens, you lose credibility in either the person you're talking to or in yourself. I felt that I lost a bit of credibility in myself because I should have checked first. And their response hurt even more because it wasn't fair. It wasn't a response to a mistake. It was a response to attack. And I responded to their attack saying that's not fair to say. I was wrong, but the way you're responding isn't in a way to teach me what I did wrong. It's to try and get me to say something else stupid, like an attack, or like, because what they did was they took pot shots at my my intellect and my not my home life, but just me as a person. And I thought those were really inflammatory. They were like, well, yes, I was wrong, but it has nothing to do with anything. This stuff that you're saying about me has nothing to do with the other stuff I said. You could say, this is what you did wrong, and this is where you can get the information, and this is what something we should talk about so that you'll understand. Instead, he linked me to a completely separate article about something else that had nothing to do with what we were talking about. And he pretty much said, educate yourself, because you are wrong in everything. And it didn't have anything to do with what we were talking about. So I don't know why he was posting that. It was a propaganda video. And he pretty much, it was so backwards. It was so, had I been somebody that wanted to learn, and I do, but had I been like a younger person that had just been misunderstanding something, had I been somebody just getting into it and putting in my 2 cents, but with the ambition to actually add something to the conversation, and I just happened to be wrong, his response was so separating. So, I am above you. You are a worthless peon, moronic, whatever. That happens everywhere in these kinds of discussions. There are going to be people that are right and still do this. The other people are just like dismissing everything. Because when you have a fact and you use the fact and somebody doesn't believe that your fact is credible or in relation to what you're talking about, when you have that, and it doesn't matter who says it or what they've done in the past, when you attack them as a person instead of what they say, as a way of smoke screening or dismissing what they say because it doesn't fit your narrative, your perception, And this, again, this is facts. I'm talking about facts, not opinions. When you don't like the facts that they are presenting, so you attack them as a person to make the fact less apparent to the argument itself, you are not doing the argument a service. You are hurting everything for the sake of your own benefit, and that is not right. So it came to me a few days, actually today when I read the comment this morning, but I made the mistake a few days ago and they had just responded to it. It is one of the reasons it's so hard to admit that you're wrong is because there are a lot of emotions and self-analysis that is required to say, you know what, I'm not right all the time. I make mistakes. There are so many people that no matter what they do and what they say and who they hurt, they will never believe they are wrong, no matter what happens. And if you can prove to them without a shadow of a doubt that they are wrong, they still have the ability to just discredit you as a person and to say, well, yeah, what you said is true, but I don't have to listen to you. And that's where you get a lot of, bigotry, and where you get a lot of, the values I hold are more important than your values you hold. So now you're discrediting their value system, and with it, somehow the facts that hold up their value system, even though that those two things are not connected in that direction. The facts contribute to the value system. The value system does not change the facts. So what they're doing is they're attacking the person and their value systems, and in doing so trying to discredit the facts when that is not how it works. So I'm doing a lot of hand gestures, but I have stuff on behind me that is all messed up. I just moved. I don't have a lot of things set up yet. This will be much better soon. But the arguments being made, the arguments that people have, need to be thought out, and they need to be fair. But it's so difficult to do that when you have this idea that you are right and they are wrong, and anyone who says anything even remotely questionable is these horrible things that you'll call them, these horrible things that you will honestly believe they are when they're not. You simplify an argument that you don't believe in for the sake of destroying it, and then when somebody questions yours, you simplify their argument so that it sounds stupid, because everything you don't understand is considered stupid to you. So you simplify it, or you focus on this part of it that's not important and blow it out of proportion so that you can attack it, or you change their argument by purposely misunderstanding it. And all of this, everything, is why logical, fair debate is the only way to actually learn and to teach something like this. When you have there are millions of people doing this. I would say probably everyone in the world who has ever stated a political, religious, moral, ideological, anything, has ever tried to have a discussion with somebody who is not exactly like them, has had this happen to them, or have done it to someone else. I've done it. I've made bad arguments before. And you know what? I was wrong when I did that. I shouldn't have done those things. I didn't understand it at the time. I didn't know that the important thing wasn't to win. It was to get the information out. So I'm trying to do better now. But there are a lot of people that don't understand that their entire ideological concepts, that they're not fleshed out, they're not based on fact, they're based off of their own opinions, or maybe they are based on facts, but they're not questioned. They're so high above what people are allowed to question. They're imperfect, infallible beliefs. That's wrong, because when you have something that is infallible in your own mind, it is without question. And when something is without question, it is never refined, it is never held accountable, it's never discussed, it's never understood. So if you don't allow your belief systems to be questioned, you will never be able to teach somebody what those are, because they're not going to hold the same ideas as you. So it's 15 minutes. I'm going to end this video now, and I hope this was somewhat educational. I hope that this explained a little bit of what is so fundamentally wrong with having beliefs so powerful that you cannot allow somebody else to question them, or when you attack somebody else for being wrong, or when you attack somebody as a person because you don't like what they say. There's just a lot of stuff going wrong with all of this, and I want so badly for people just to come together and to talk. That's it. That's all I want. You don't have to agree. You don't have to do anything else. But when you're listening or talking or having a discussion, listen. Just be able to say, you know what, that's a point, and I'll think about it. That's it. That's all you have to do. Consideration. And that's it. Peace.